12 o'clock, time to reach for mobile water. Mobile water, unique in every way.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Citi Prime News. The news is live from our studio at Adabraka in Accra. I am Inusafo. Coming up, Komfonoche Doctors Association suspends all surgical procedures following water crisis.
Close to 10 days now, we've not had water supply from Ghana Water Company. Our operations is also said that it's water dependent for infection prevention and control purposes. And so our reservoirs were exhausted.
Also coming up, Coalition Against Illegal Mining threatens to demonstrate on May 1 to pressure the government into taking concrete steps to address illegal mining.
President should walk the talk, just as he's walked the talk with repealing the e-levy. He should do the same thing in revoking this obnoxious law.
Still ahead, Ken Oforiatta sues OSP again over wanted person tag. And later, President John Dramani Mahama calls for swift interrogation of the suspect allegedly involved in the killing of Ahmed Swali.
I've urged the police and the investigative organizations to look more actively in cases like Ahmed Swali, and that is how come a first suspect has been arrested.
This bulletin is also live across our partner stations in the Western region. We're on Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach 105.5 FM in Takoradi, and Sky 93.5 FM also in Takoradi. In the Bono region, we're live on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi. Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. If you're in the Volta region, you're listening to us live on Revival 99.3 FM in Tajewu, VOV Radio 95.7 FM in Hohoi. In the Northern region, we're live on Radio Bimbilla 91.9 FM. In the Upper East, we're on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. In the Upper West, we're on Tunsong 97.3 FM in Wa and Jurapa 96.1 FM. Across the globe, we're live on citinewsroom.com.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for choosing us this hour. Let's settle for the details of our stories. A water shortage at the Komfonoche Teaching Hospital has forced the Doctors Association to announce the immediate suspension of some surgical procedures. The crisis, which began last week, has severely impacted the orthopedic and emergency directorates. In a memo dated March 25, 2025, the association formally notified management and called for urgent intervention. Hospital management says steps have been taken to address the issue, with ongoing efforts in collaboration with the Ghana Water Company for a permanent solution. The hospital's public relations officer, Kwame Frimpong, is appealing for a dedicated water supply line to ensure a regular flow to the facility.
Close to 10 days now, we've not had water supply from Ghana Water Company. I think they had some issues, and therefore they curtailed supplies to us. We try to depend upon our reservoirs, but we are such a big community that the water consumption here is very high. Our operations is also said that it's water dependent for infection prevention and control purposes. And so our reservoirs were exhausted, and we tried to get supplies from private tanker operators. We spoke to Ghana National Fire Service and also spoke to KMA. They all helped us to some extent, but as I indicated, the scale of our operations and the number of people who reside in this enclave are so huge that that was the supplies or the support that we're getting from all these partners proved to be inadequate. We are trying to see if we can drill more boreholes, but as I've told you, because of our location, it has not been quite fruitful in terms of the yield. So we do not expect that will provide a permanent solution. That's why there's the need for the government to invest in getting us a dedicated line and also the expansion in the main reservoir that we have at the moment. For a hospital like this to be denied of service for 10 days, it's quite unthinkable.
Kwame Frimpong is the Public Relations Officer of the Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital. Let's go over the phone lines and speak to Middle Belt Bureau Chief Hafiz Tijani for more insight into the story. Hafiz, many thanks for joining us. 10 days. What exactly is accounting for this water shortage? Is it from the Ghana Water Company Limited side?
Yes, this is from the Ghana Water Company. So currently, we have seen the deployment of some engineers from the Ghana Water Company who are being led by the operations manager of the company, who is also looking at the lines here at the Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital. And even before that, if you can hear from the background, there is this tanker from the drip machines or the drip equipment, which is supplying water, situated at the emergency unit of the hospital, the accident and emergency unit of the hospital, currently supplying water to some of the surgical wards, major surgical wards at this unit. So that is what is being done. But the issue stems from the back pipe, a pipeline that is supplying water to some areas within the metropolis and the Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital. But because the Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital had a large number of community, the patients, the staff, the nursing school, the other medical facilities, and the medical school accommodation here, or the medical school bungalow here, the hospital relies heavily on water to be able to carry out its activities. And the location of the hospital is also making it difficult for boreholes to be drilled for them to get enough water. I have checked in some of the reservoirs and some of the tankers or some of the tanks that have been situated at some of the wards. Most of them are empty, and the line that is supplying water to this area is located around the Suntreso Hospital, heading to the Abreport Junction. And currently, engineers are also moving there from the Ghana Water Company to work on this line. But they say they are still working to restore water to these areas, including the Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital that do not have water. But when you come here, there's been an alternative supply of water. Talk of the drip machine, and the Ghana National Fire Service is also helping the hospital to get water.
That's some good news, but you are at the Comfort Anoche Teaching Hospital currently. Have the doctors indeed ceased surgeries, and have you cited any patients who are stranded due to this sudden directive by the doctors?
Well, for some of the patients who came in here this morning, some of them were told about the situation, so they had, for the services they are suspending, they had to seek alternatives at other health facilities. But I've spoken with a leadership of the Doctors Association. Although they will not speak on record, they tell me that the situation is hampering operations at some of these facilities, and they think that there should be an expedited intervention from the Ministry of Health, the management of the hospital, as well as the leadership of the Ghana Water Company to resolve this, because even the water that is being supplied, the alternative supply of water from the Ghana National Fire Service and that of the drip machines, it's not so enough because of the quantity of water they will need in the cleaning, in safety and hygiene. They say this issue borders on safety and hygiene, so they would need enough water to be able to carry out the operations, and the supply of these alternative sources of water is not enough. So they would need a permanent supply of the water, or the restoration of the water supply to this facility, so they can fully operate.
So if I get you correctly, until there is running water through their taps, the doctors are not going to commence surgeries anytime soon?
Well, that's for some of the departments. For those emergencies, they are going to take care of emergencies. But for minor ones or people who are coming in for the first time and their conditions are not so severe, they are not going to attend to those ones.
Hafiz Tijani, thank you very much for that update. Stay on that beat for us and we will update our listeners in subsequent bulletins. You heard our Middle Belt Bureau Chief, Hafiz Tijani. Let's move on to some of the stories now. Government needs over $300 million to address water crisis. The managing director of the Ghana Water Limited, Adam Mutawakilu, says the government requires over $300 million to resolve the water crisis in Tamale, Yendi and Damongo in the northern and Savannah regions. The persistent water shortage has intensified calls for government intervention to manage the situation. Adam Mutawakilu has directed the chief manager of the Ghana Water Company in the northern region to implement a water rationing schedule for fair distribution across Tamale and its surrounding areas. During his first official visit to the region since assuming office, he stated that the government is working to secure funding for the project.
The president was voted for to reset Ghana agenda going forward, and he has made a very emphatic statement at Yendi when he visited the Yana that by the term of his office, water supply to Damongo, Tamale, and Yendi should be a thing of the past. By the time he visited to goodbye them, they should have water. We are the technical arm of the water supply. And I want to say that whatever he has said, inshallah, will work around the clock to make sure that it comes to fruition. We are not sleeping. We are working hard. The amount involved is quite huge. But with the determination of the president, it is possible. Because the total amount is almost $302 million. Damongo about $50 million, Tamale about $223 million, and Yendi $30 million. So it will be a huge investment, and President Mama is determined to source funding for this project.
You heard the managing director of the Ghana Water Limited, Adam Mutawakilu. Now, former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has filed another legal action against the Office of the Special Prosecutor, seeking a court order to prevent the Anti-Corruption Agency from labelling him as a wanted person or a fugitive from justice. Mr. Ofori-Atta argues that the OSP has violated principles of administrative justice by continuing to display his photograph and details on its official Facebook page and other platforms. Colleague Hansen Ajaman joins us over the phone lines to give us more clarity on this new lawsuit. Hansen, thanks for joining us. What are the grounds for what Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is seeking?
So, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta already has argued that the Office of the Special Prosecutor lacks the power to declare anybody wanted without first going to court and seeking the leave of the court to declare the said person wanted. Secondly, he's saying that even though the Office of the Special Prosecutor, by a letter to him, has decided to rescind his decision to place him on a wanted list, he still finds his picture and details on the social media handles and other portals of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And so he is, by this application, requiring from the court to injunct the Office of the Special Prosecutor from keeping his details on the website and other social media handles of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, i.e. Facebook. He is also asking the court to injunct the OSP from declaring him as a wanted person or as a person, as a fugitive from justice without the leave of court, meaning that the court should place an injunction on the OSP such that if in the near future the OSP wants to declare him as a wanted person, they can only do so with the permission of the court. He's also seeking an injunction on the OSC from declaring him as a wanted person through a media briefing, which was the manner in which Kisei Jabin, the special prosecutor, used in declaring him as a wanted person. He's also asking for an order directing the OSP to remove the wanted notice from their Facebook page and any other virtual or physical platforms. And he's asking the court to restrain the Office of the Special Prosecutor from carrying out a threat it issued on February 18, which threat was that if Ken Ofori-Atta refuses to be present in the country as he had indicated to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, they will re-enter his name into the wanted persons list. So basically, these are what the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is asking from the court.
Okay, Hansen, we also understand that the Old Tafo Member of Parliament, Vincent Ako Asefua, has filed a suit challenging processes triggered by President John Mahama over petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice. What have you gathered so far on this developing story?
Well, so the Old Tafo Member of Parliament, he is arguing that if you read the Constitution, when it comes to the removal of a Chief Justice, there are processes to follow. And according to him, the first process that anybody ought to follow is to first let the Chief Justice, the person who at the time or who the petitions are asking for his or her removal, to be aware of those petitions, and also to require from those people to require from the Chief Justice his or her response to the petition before even consulting the Council of State, and before the Council of State will come with its reason on the matter, whether a committee should be set up. So he's arguing that with the President not first notifying the Chief Justice, her leadership, Justice Isaba Tokono, to get Justice Isaba Tokono's response to these petitions before even going to the Council of State, then the process that has been taken by the President is unconstitutional. And so is that asking the Supreme Court to now patch the decision of the President to consult the Council of State, for the Council of State to make a determination whether there's a need for a committee to be set up in the first place to consider the petition.
Thank you very much. Hansen Ajimai is our court correspondent here at 97.3 Citi FM. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. Still to come, President John Dramani Mahama calls for swift interrogation of the suspect allegedly involved in the killing of Ahmed Swale. We'll bring you the details shortly. Do stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Get ready as we take you back to your roots for an unforgettable experience and treat you to delectable, authentic Ghanaian cuisine from the Akan, the northern and southern villages at the Back to Your Village Food Festival 2025. Let's also treat you to a collection of authentic Ghanaian music, traditional dances, some authentic Ghanaian games, and great networking. The date is the 29th and 30th of March 2025. The venue is the forecourt of the AMA and the time is 10 a.m. right through till 6 p.m. each day. Come and enjoy some incredible performances that will transform you straight to the heart of our rich cultural heritage, from the Just Groove Band, Ejoji Namfa Fali Bobobo, Drumona, National Dance Ensemble, Kwampa, and the Adaha Dance Band. Be part of the celebration and let's go back to our roots and discover the flavors and rhythms that bind us all. Follow Channel 1 TV and 97.3 Citi FM social media handles for updates with the hashtag Back to Your Village. Entry is free. See you there. The Back to Your Village Food Festival 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV with support from 97.3 Citi FM and is proudly sponsored by Gino, Goa Natural Cocoa Fruit Juice, Pan-African Savings and Loans, Jibu Water, Trinidad Industrial Company, Contract Cleaners Association of Ghana, and OCM.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back to the Citi Prime News. Let's do some more stories. President John Dramani Mahama has called for an immediate and expedited interrogation of the suspect allegedly involved in the killing of Tiger Eye PI member Ahmed Swale. Daniel Owusu-Kranting, a former associate of the late Ahmed Swale, has been arrested and charged with murder in connection with his death. The president stated that a swift and thorough interrogation of the suspect could lead to further arrests and ultimately bring closure to the case. While assuring the protection of human rights, President Mahama also urged the swift prosecution of those responsible for the murder of J.B. Dankwa.
We are committed to the protection of human rights and investigation of significant killings or murders that have remained uninvestigated. And so I've urged the police and the investigative organizations to look more actively in cases like Ahmed Swale, and that is how come a first suspect has been arrested. We are hoping that his interrogation will lead to further arrests of people. There are several other cases like the J.B. Dankwa murder case, and we're asking that it be expedited in terms of the prosecution that is taking place and for investigations to be carried out to find out if any other persons were involved in some of those.
President John Dramani Mahama there. Now, former New Patriotic Party flag bearer hopeful Kennedy Ejapon says the defamation suit filed against him by investigative journalist Anas Armeao Anas has made him a better person. The lawsuit accused Kennedy Ejapon of making defamatory statements against Anas during an episode of a popular online program among Ghanaian audiences in the U.S. A New Jersey court awarded $18 million in damages against the former Asin Central Member of Parliament in the case, which was filed in May 2022. Speaking upon his return to Ghana, Kennedy Ejapon called for calm among his supporters.
I will say that we should all stay calm. Nobody should worry, because anybody who decides to speak the truth and fight for the voiceless will go through all this ordeal. And with this, through this ordeal, I become a better person. Okay? I become a better person to fight and defend the country and the voiceless.
You heard former New Patriotic Party flag bearer hopeful Kennedy Ejapon. The coalition against illegal mining has threatened to stage a demonstration on Tuesday, May 1st, to pressure the government into taking concrete steps to address illegal mining. The group insists that President John Dramani Mahama must fulfill his campaign promises by taking decisive action against the menace. The coalition argues that successive governments have been reluctant to tackle illegal mining due to the financial contributions of Galamsey operators to political parties. Speaking to Citi News, the convener of the coalition expressed shock over the amendment of LI 2464, which has been submitted to Parliament.
So definitely, see, the whole conversation about amending the LI is foreign. His Excellency the President spoke about revoking, this particular ally. So if we have the situation where a government that we think that failed abysmally actually had an AG that had an instrument to revoke, then it's unfortunate that we will be having the NDC that spoke with us about the revocation, that even had some members of parliament ready to take private members' bill to revoke it, now talking about a repeal. And the thing about it is that an amendment, if you amend this LI, what you're doing is saving only about 10% of the forest. If you revoke it, we're talking about 60% of the forest that you'll be saving. And then if the government thinks that they want an EPA element in it, then they bring a new bill that has a lot of stakeholder engagement to do it. So it is important that the NDC that currently have overwhelming majority in parliament should immediately stop the particular LI. Do not let the 21 days so that it would mature into an amendment. It is important that it happens. And what is going to happen is that we're going to mobilize all of Ghana to ensure that that is done. We cannot allow that to happen. The president should walk the talk, just as he's walked the talk with repealing the e-levy. He should do the same thing in revoking this obnoxious law.
Right, thank you very much.
That was the convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Dr. Ken Ashigbe. Meanwhile, a member of the coalition and private legal practitioner Martin Pebu said a petition will soon be presented to President Mahama and the Lands Ministry.
The Coalition Against Illegal Mining is currently drafting a petition, so it's in the works. When it's done, it will be shared, and as many citizens will be called upon to sign up, so that same will be presented to the president to tell him that citizens are still watching. Citizens want him to fulfill the manifesto promise that he will nip Galamsey in the bud. That is one of the reasons we voted for him. The MPP had lost the trust of the people. We didn't think that they were fighting Galamsey with conviction, etc. So JM, as a presidential candidate, sounded more credible. So respectfully, we want Mr. President to stand up and walk his talk. Because you see, the nation belongs to all of us. Now, these Galamseyers are very powerful people. And usually because they contribute to political party funding, etc., politicians by themselves are not able to deal with the Galamseyers. So it is when citizens get up and show anger, show a lot of fury, then the government is able to fight the Galamseyers better, because then it's even obvious to the Galamseyers that it's not their friends, the politicians who took money for funding, but rather it's the citizens who are pushing.
You heard private legal practitioner Martin Pebu. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakufibua, has dismissed calls for a temporary ban on excavator imports as a measure to curb illegal mining. Speaking on the Point of View on Channel 1 TV, he argued that excavators are used for various purposes beyond mining, making a ban impractical. Instead, he advocated for stricter monitoring and regulation of excavator imports, including expanding the tracking system to improve oversight of their usage.
The thing is that we have to put a system in place. Already, the Minerals Commission has a tracking program so far on an experimental basis of 70 excavators that they are able to track in their using geofencing technology to track. And that is working very well. They know exactly 24 hours where that excavator is. What we are saying is that working with the Attorney General and the Interior Ministry, if any excavator is caught in any illegality, we are not only arresting the person, but ultimately with this system we are putting in place, we are going for the big guys. We are engaging and coordinating with the Ministry of Transport, with DVLA, and we are going to do that. I'm sure we'll get to the point where some decisions will be made to tighten the movements and the import. But ultimately we are going to tighten the imports, we are going to tighten the registration and the movement of excavators in this country. You heard Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Emmanuel Amakufibua.
The countdown is on for the highly anticipated 2025 Back to Your Village Food Festival as vendors and sponsors prepare for the ultimate traditional homecoming. The two-day event, scheduled for Saturday, March 29 and Sunday, March 30 at the forecourt of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, promises a rich display of traditional cuisine and captivating musical performances. Here are some vendors and sponsors sharing why they chose to be part of this year's festival.
This is quickly, and then it goes with the palm nut soup. You can't have quickly with any other soup. It has to be with palm nut soup. And quickly is mainly, it's not sold. You can't sell quickly. It's a festive ceremonial food. Yes.
It's never sold.
Yeah, it's a taboo to sell.
Okay.
Right. So if any guy, anybody who wants to have a taste of it, come and look for Auntie Awu.
Thank you.
You can have a taste of it.
Citi is a big brand to start with. And two, in terms of why we wanted to partner this Back to Your Village program, the whole idea is that Jibu for Ghana, our headline campaign this year is Cook with Jibu. And the reason why...
Cook with Jibu?
Yes, Cook with Jibu.
Okay.
And the reason why we chose this campaign tagline is that when you pick, in Ghana currently, when you pick 10 people, it's only 4 persons that have access to clean, safe drinking water.
Wow.
Yes. And then when you come down, in Accra alone, you have about almost 78% of people living in Accra using sachet water to cook and then drink. And as a sustainable company, what we are interested in is making sure people are able to drink safe water and then also they are able to cook and undertake any activity that require water in a very sustainable manner.
Those were some vendors and sponsors of the Back to Your Village Food Festival. The 2025 Back to Your Village Food Festival is powered by Channel 1 TV and Citi FM and proudly sponsored by Jibu Water, Gino, Pan-African Savings and Loans, Trillium Industrial Limited, Core Natural, and the Contract Cleaners Association of Ghana. That's how we end the City Prime News, which has been live from our studio in Adabraka. Do log on to our website, citynewsroom.com, for more news. My name is Enusa. Many thanks for listening.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at City 973.